the shores of Prince Edward Island for a place of heat and shadows. We begin a new tale, a story of a hidden place and a lonely girl. Close your eyes. Let the heat of the day fade into the cool of the evening. The Secret Garden. Chapter 1. There is no one left. When Mary Lennox was sent to Misselthwaite Manor to live with her uncle, everybody said she was the most disagreeable-looking child ever seen. It was true, too. She had a little thin face and a little thin body, thin light hair and a sour expression. Her hair was yellow and her face was yellow because she had been born in India and had always been ill. Her father had always been busy and ill himself, and her mother had been a great beauty who cared only to go to parties. She had not wanted a little girl at all. When Mary was born, she was handed over to the care of an ayah. The Mamside made it understood that the child must be kept out of sight. So when she was a sickly, fretful, ugly little baby, she was kept out of the way. She never remembered seeing anything but the dark faces of her servants. By the time she was 6 years old, she was as tyrannical and selfish a little pig as ever lived. One frightfully hot morning, when she was about 9 years old, she awakened feeling very cross. She saw that the servant by her bed was not her ayah. "Why did you come?" she said. "Send my ayah to me." The woman looked frightened. She only stammered that the ayah could not come. There was something mysterious in the air that morning. Nothing was done in its regular order. Servants seemed missing. Those Mary saw slunk about with ashy and scared faces, but no one would tell her anything. At last she wandered out into the garden and began to play by herself under a tree. She pretended she was making a flower bed. She stuck big scarlet hibiscus blossoms into little heaps of earth, muttering to herself. "Pig, pig, daughter of pigs," she said. She was grinding her teeth when she heard her mother come out on the veranda. The Mames say it was such a tall, slim, pretty person. Her hair was like curly silk. All her clothes were thin and floating, and Mary said they were full of lace. They looked fuller of lace than ever this morning, but her eyes were not laughing at all. They were large and scared. "Is it so very bad? Oh, is it?" Mary heard her say. "Awfully," a young man answered in a trembling voice. "You ought to have gone to the hills 2 weeks ago." At that very moment, a loud sound of wailing broke out from the servants' quarters. Mary stood shivering from head to foot. After that, appalling things happened. The cholera had broken out in its most fatal form, and people were dying like flies. During the confusion, Mary hid herself in the nursery and was forgotten by everyone. Nobody thought of her, nobody wanted her. Mary alternately cried and slept through the hours. Once she crept into the dining room and found it empty. A partly finished meal was on the table. It was sweet and it made her intensely drowsy. She went back to her nursery and shut herself in again, frightened by the cries and the hurrying sound of feet. She lay down on her bed and knew nothing more for a long time. When she awakened, the house was perfectly still. She had never known it to be so silent before. She wondered also who would take care of her now. She did not cry. She was not an affectionate child and had never cared much for anyone. But if everyone had got well again, surely someone would remember and come to look for her. But no one came. The house seemed to grow more and more silent. She heard something rustling on the matting. A little snake was gliding along, watching her with eyes like jewels. He was a harmless little thing. He slipped under the door as she watched him. "How queer and quiet it is," she said. "It sounds as if there were no one in the bungalow but me and the snake." Almost the next minute, she heard footsteps. They were men's footsteps. "What desolation," she heard one voice say. "That pretty, pretty woman. I suppose the child too, though no one ever saw her." Mary was standing in the middle of the nursery when they opened the door. She looked an ugly, cross little thing, frowning because she was hungry. "Barney," the man cried, "there is a child here. A child alone, in a place like this?" "I am Mary Lennox," the little girl said, drawing herself up stiffly. "I fell asleep when everyone had the cholera, and I have only just wakened up. Why does nobody come?" "It is the child no one ever saw," exclaimed the man. "She has actually been forgotten." "Why was I forgotten?" Mary said, stamping her foot. The young man looked at her very sadly. Mary thought she saw him wink tears away. "Poor little kid," he said. "There is nobody left to come." It was in that sudden way that Mary found out that she had neither father nor mother left. They had died and been carried away in the night. None of the servants had remembered her. That was why the place was so quiet. It was true that there was no one in the bungalow but herself and the little rustling snake. The heat of India is far away now. The bungalow is empty and the garden is still. Mary is no longer forgotten, but her journey has only just begun. Sleep now. Let the rustle of the leaves be your only sound. You are safe. You are found.